The Young and the Restless spoilers, full Tuesday recap update, the 25th of August, 2026. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. It is a gorgeous Tuesday afternoon, and we have so much to unpack today. Grab your coffee or whatever you need, because the drama in Genoa City is absolutely off the rails right now, and we need to talk about it immediately. So let's just dive right in, because honestly, my head is spinning from everything that is happening this week on The Young and the Restless. And I have to start with Nick Newman, because what in the world is going on with this man? We all know Nick has been struggling. He checked out of rehab, he hit absolute rock bottom, he had that terrifying fentanyl nightmare, and he ended up in a dingy motel doing drugs with a mysterious woman named Marie Kirkland. And we all remember how that ended, right? Marie overdosed. Nick had to save her, or try to, and it was this massive, traumatic wake-up call. And then Sharon had to swoop in and rescue him, driving him back to the rehab center where he belongs. But here is the thing. Nick is back in rehab, which is great. We love that for him. We want him to heal. But apparently, he is not healing alone, because Nick just told Sharon about Marie. He told her about the woman from the motel, the overdose, the whole dark night of the soul. And you would think that would be the end of it. A cautionary tale. A ghost from his rock bottom. But no, because Marie is in rehab with him. Yes, you heard that right. Marie is at the exact same facility, and Nick is telling Sharon that it feels like a full circle moment. He actually said he will never forget Marie because he sees her all the time now. And I'm just sitting here staring at my screen like, are you kidding me, Nick? You are in rehab to fight for your life, to fight for your sobriety, and you are already getting emotionally entangled with the woman you did drugs with at a motel. I mean, maybe I'm being too harsh. Maybe it's just a trauma bond. Okay, that sounded dramatic, but you get what I mean. They went through something horrific together, so maybe they are just supporting each other. But this is Nick Newman we are talking about. The man does not know how to just be friends with a woman, especially a vulnerable woman who is sharing a deeply emotional experience with him. And the writers are totally setting up a romance here. I can feel it. Because next week, we get this scene where Nick is sitting alone at a table in the rehab center, working on a jigsaw puzzle. And it's a puzzle. Think about the metaphor there. His life is in pieces. He is trying to put it back together. It is so heavy-handed, but I kind of love it. So he is staring at this puzzle, probably frustrated, and Marie walks by. She stops. She looks at the puzzle, and she spots a piece that he placed incorrectly, or a missing piece, and she fixes it for him. Nick looks up at her, all confused and vulnerable, and asks how she noticed that when he completely missed it. And Marie looks at him and says that sometimes it just takes a fresh set of eyes for things to fall into place. I mean, come on. That is essentially a marriage proposal on a soap opera. A fresh set of eyes. She isn't talking about the cardboard puzzle, you guys. She is talking about his life. She is the fresh set of eyes. She is the missing piece. It is so obvious that they are going to start a romance. And honestly, I am so torn about it. Because on one hand, Jade Harlow is playing Marie, and she is fantastic. And they have this really gritty, raw chemistry that started in that motel room. But on the other hand, what about Sharon? Let's be real for a second. Nick and Sharon literally just had a conversation about taking a family trip with the kids after he finishes his rehab stint. They were making plans. They were talking about the future. Sharon has been his rock through this entire nightmare. She drove him back to the clinic. She has been worrying herself sick over him. And now Nick is having cute little puzzle-solving moments with his former drug buddy? It just feels like a slap in the face to Sharon. And I know the fans on social media are going to lose their minds over this. The Chic fans are going to riot. Because every time Nick and Sharon get close, every time it feels like they are finally going to reunite and be the endgame we all know they are, Nick gets distracted by a shiny new object. Or, in this case, a broken, tragic new object. But maybe I need to calm down. Maybe it won't go that far. But who actually believes this is going to end well? Two addicts in early recovery starting a romance. It is a recipe for absolute disaster. But I guess that's why we watch, right? We want the disaster. So anyway, speaking of absolute disasters, we have to talk about Phyllis Summers. Because Phyllis is currently losing whatever tiny grip on reality she had left. Last week, she was playing with fire by hiring Matt Clark. Matt Clark, the man who has terrorized the Newman family, the man who has done unspeakable things. Phyllis not only gave him a job, but she was parading him around, thinking she had him under control. She actually thought she could manage a psychopath. And now Matt is missing. He is just gone. And Phyllis is panicking. She is completely freaking out. And instead of calling the police, or, I don't know, looking inward and realizing she made a terrible mistake, she does what Phyllis always does. She blames the Newmans. So next week, Phyllis storms into the bar at the GCAC like a hurricane. She is frantic, she is loud, and she is looking for someone to blame. And who does she run into? Adam Newman. Adam is sitting there having a drink with Kane Ashby. And let's just pause for a second, because Adam and Kane having a drink together is a whole other storyline. We know Kane recently went to Victor and Adam to warn them about Billy's hostile takeover of Chancellor. Kane told them that Billy might actually have the law on his side regarding that old loan from John Abbott. So Adam and Kane are definitely sitting there plotting against Billy. They are deep in corporate warfare mode, talking about Chancellor and how to stop Billy's massive ego trip. And then Phyllis just barges in, completely interrupting them, and she goes off on Adam. She demands to know where Matt is. She is literally screaming at Adam, asking what his family did to Matt. She is convinced that Victor or Adam, or someone in the Newman clan, kidnapped Matt or killed him, or locked him in a dungeon. And honestly, she might not be wrong. Victor has a history of locking people in dungeons. We all know that. But the absurdity of Phyllis Summers standing in a public bar, demanding justice for Matt Clark, is just too much. I mean, what were they thinking when they wrote this? Phyllis is a smart woman. She is a survivor. Why is she going to bat for a monster? And you just know Adam and Kane are going to mock her. I can already see the smug look on Adam's face. He is going to look at her like she has 3 heads. I wouldn't be surprised if Adam and Kane both just start laughing at her. They are probably going to taunt her, telling her that she couldn't even keep a psycho on a leash. They're going to point out how pathetic it is that she is running around town looking for a criminal who probably just skipped bail or ran off to cause chaos somewhere else. But Phyllis won't hear it. She is so blinded by her hatred for Victor, and maybe her weird, twisted need to control Matt, that she can't see straight. She is unraveling, you guys. She is completely unraveling. And I am honestly a bit tired of seeing Phyllis constantly back herself into these corners where she looks crazy. I want the old Phyllis back. The one who was 10 steps ahead. Not this Phyllis, who is begging Adam Newman for information about a missing psychopath. It is just sad. But it is also great television, so I will be glued to my screen. Okay, let's take a breath, because we need to talk about the biggest, most shocking, most forbidden moment of the week. And I am still recovering from reading about this. Victoria Newman and Kyle Abbott. Yes, it is happening. We have been seeing the signs. We have been watching them interact, sharing secrets, trauma bonding over the whole Patty Williams nightmare, and Kyle dealing with Jack's stabbing and Diane's kidnapping. Kyle has been vulnerable. Victoria has been acting as the family peacemaker, trying to hold the Newmans together. And they have been crossing paths, sharing these intense, quiet moments. But next week, it goes from quiet moments to an absolute explosion. So here is the setup. Victoria is at Jabal. She is in Jack's office, or maybe one of the executive suites, and she is talking to Kyle. And you know how Kyle gets. He gets that arrogant, smug Abbott smirk on his face. He gets defensive and cocky, especially when he is hurting or trying to prove something. And Victoria, who is basically the queen of ice and corporate power, looks at him. She looks right at him and says, "I would take great pleasure in knocking your arrogance into a million pieces." I mean, wow. The tension in that line alone. It is so charged. It is aggressive, but it is also deeply, deeply intimate. It is the kind of thing you say when you want to fight someone or when you want to rip their clothes off. And in this case, it is definitely the latter. Because after she says that, the air just gets sucked out of the room. Kyle looks at her, and instead of backing down, instead of giving a snarky comeback, he just goes for it. They kiss. And it is not just a quick peck. The spoilers say it is a deeply passionate, intense kiss. And Victoria kisses him back. She leans into it. She wants it just as much as he does. And I am sitting here screaming at my laptop because, oh my god, the mess. The absolute, unmitigated mess of this pairing. Let's just break down why this is so incredibly chaotic and wrong, but also why I am kind of obsessed with it. First of all, the age difference. Victoria is significantly older than Kyle, which, whatever, age is just a number, and women can date younger men. That is fine, but it is not just the age. It is the family history. Kyle is the father of Harrison. Kyle was married to Summer Newman. Summer is Victoria's niece. Victoria is basically Harrison's great aunt or something. Kyle was literally part of the Newman family through summer. But wait, it gets worse. So much worse. Because who did Kyle recently date? Claire Grace Newman, Victoria's daughter. Kyle was romancing Claire. He was taking her on dates. He was being her knight in shining armor while she was dealing with her trauma. And Victor hated it. Victor absolutely despised Kyle being near Claire. And now Kyle is kissing Claire's mother. He is making out with Victoria Newman in the Jabot offices. What is going to happen when Claire finds out? That poor girl's mental health is already hanging by a thread. She has been through so much trauma, and she finally finds a nice guy in Kyle, and they break up, and now her mom is swapping spit with him. It is going to destroy Claire. It is going to absolutely shatter her trust in Victoria. And what about Victor? Oh my god, Victor Newman is going to have a literal heart attack. He already hates the Abbotts. He hates Jack. He hates Billy. He barely tolerates Kyle. He just got done dealing with Billy trying to steal Chancellor and Jack being involved in the Patty drama. And now he is going to find out that his golden child, his CEO daughter, is hooking up with Jack Abbott's son, the same boy who just dated his fragile granddaughter. Victor is going to burn Jabot to the ground. He is going to declare actual war. But you know what? I kind of love that Victoria is doing this. Because Victoria is always so buttoned up. She is always trying to be the perfect daughter, the perfect executive. She always puts the company first. And every time she rebels, she does it in the most spectacular way possible. She always falls for the wrong men. She fell for Billy over and over again. She fell for Ashland Locke, which was a disaster. And now she is falling for Kyle Abbott. It is like she has this fatal flaw where she just cannot resist men who will infuriate her father. And Kyle is just a mess. He is hurting. He is acting out. He is reckless. He nearly lost his dad. His mom was kidnapped. He made that stupid, dangerous deal with Patty in jail just to get back at Victor. Kyle is spinning out of control, and Victoria is this powerful, grounded, older woman who is giving him attention. Of course he is drawn to her. It is classic trauma bonding mixed with mommy issues. I said it. I said what we are all thinking. It is going to be a disaster. A beautiful, messy, soapy disaster. And I am here for every single second of it. I want to see the moment Claire walks in on them. I want to see Summer's face when she finds out her ex-husband is sleeping with her aunt. I want to see Jack's face when he realizes his son is hooking up with Victor's daughter. And most of all, I want to see Victor's mustache twitch when he gets the news. It is going to be cinema. So, just to recap this wild, chaotic week we have coming up. Nick is falling for his rehab buddy, Marie, over a jigsaw puzzle, completely forgetting that Sharon is waiting for him on the outside. Phyllis is losing her mind in the middle of the GCAC, screaming at Adam and Kane about a missing psychopath while they are trying to plan a corporate takeover. And Victoria and Kyle are crossing every single boundary known to man by making out in the Jabot offices. I mean, the writers are really feeding us right now. They are giving us the character drama, the inappropriate romances, the corporate backstabbing, and the absolute unhinged behavior that makes this show so good. I know I complain sometimes. I know I get tired of the same old tropes. But when they do stuff like this, when they just let the characters be messy and make terrible decisions, that is when the show is at its best. I don't know how any of this is going to get resolved. I don't think Nick is going to stay sober if he gets his heart broken by Marie. I don't think Phyllis is going to survive if she keeps poking the Newman bear. And I definitely don't think Victoria and Kyle are going to survive the wrath of Victor Newman. But we will be watching. We will be right here, breaking it all down, second-guessing every move, and screaming at our screens. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. Are you shipping Nick and Marie, or are you strictly Schick? Do you think Victor kidnapped Matt Clark, or did Matt just run away? And on a scale of 1 to 10, how grossed out or intrigued are you by Victoria and Kyle? Stay tuned, guys. It's going to be a bumpy ride.